Hello everyone, welcome to part 10 module 6 data communication. So far in from module 6 we were discussing the switching technologies. Switching network. How switching is happening in a computer network. We saw this techniques like the circuit switching and packet switching concept in detail. Now we move on to our discussion on something called the spread spectrum, and this is something on half of your module. I think the module is actually starting with the spread spectrum concept followed by the switching technique concept, but I covered the other one first, followed by this. Okay, so what is this spread spectrum? I think already in some previous module you gone through this concept somewhere, but anyway we will see that in detail here. So it's a kind of encoding technique. Let's see what it is. So as an introduction, spread spectrum is an important form of encoding for wireless communication. We already seen different encoding techniques, means that is for the wired communication, how the information is being translated in the form of digital or analog signal, and that we already covered. And now what is happening for the wireless signal? So when it is wireless, what is the main problem that is being faced by the wireless communication or wired communication? It is the security aspects, right? Because when you send the information, there is no guided media for the information to travel. Simply it will be communicated over the means just it will be communicated without any guided media, and finally using some antennas and all, it will be captured at the receiver side. So that is the thing. So on the way the signal will be suffering from the some unwanted noise related issue, some security attack, that is more this wireless communication is more viable to attack than the wired communication. So we want to ensure the secrecy somehow, some kind of encryption kind of things, some kind of confidentiality should be added to the information. And also how the multiplexing is happening in wireless communication. Actually this spread spectrum is providing a method by which you can achieve all the three things I discussed right now, like the immunity from possible interference or noise. Second one, some protection from the security problem vulnerabilities, and some kind of encryption, you can think in that way. And also the multiplexing in wireless communication, it is trying to provide all these three aspects. And we will see with a particular category of this spread spectrum, we have a frequency hopping and direct sequence spread spectrum concept. So once we discuss those concepts, it will be clear how it is achieving all those things. But right now you can understand it like this. It is a encoding technique for the wireless communication. Now it can be used to transmit either analog or digital data using analog signal. We already seen 4 kinds of encoding, right? Analog data to analog signal encoding, digital data to digital analog signal. Also if the signal can be digital, like analog data to digital signal, digital data to digital signal. All 4 categories we already discussed. But if you are looking at spread spectrum, it is particularly for wireless communication, and where the underlying signal is normally analog signal. So that the 2 categories of encoding is applicable here, like digital to analog signal, digital data to analog signal, as well as analog data to analog signal. For both these encoding technique, you can apply this spread spectrum as an additional layer of encoding. Okay, now this technique was developed initially for the military and intelligence requirement, where we are providing the security. And now it is not only for military application, the other wireless applications are also using this spread spectrum concept. So the essential idea is to spread the information signal over a wider bandwidth to make jamming and interception more difficult. So the possible interception kind of attack and jamming attack, we are trying to make it difficult by spreading the information signal over a wider bandwidth. Okay, so normally the input signal will be somewhat narrow banded. At that narrow banded input signal, using some spreading code, we will make it wide band. So that is actually happening, and we will see how it is done. Now, the first type of the spread spectrum developed is known as the frequency hopping spread spectrum. Now, a more recent type of spread spectrum concept is this direct sequencing, and we will see both of them in detail. So, both of them are used in various wireless communication standards and products. So as I already told you, it is initially proposed for the military or intelligence requirements, but later it started used as a encoding technique for the wireless communication. Now you can see a general model of spreading spectrum digital communication system, how it is working as from end to end. So we have that input data that is given to a channel encoder. So this is the encoder which is converting this input data, maybe in the analog data form or digital form, right? Now this encoder will be converting that analog or digital data to analog signal, because it is suitable for analog to analog and digital to analog encoding, right? So some kind of channel encoder you can use, that can be either an analog to analog encoder or a digital to digital to analog encoder. So we already seen all those techniques in detail in our previous discussion. So something like that you can use. Finally, you will be getting a analog signal. Now this is the portion where that spread spectrum concept is working. Like we will be passing that encoder signal in through a modulator, and that modulator will be taking a spreading code which is being generated by a pseudo noise generator. We will see what is the pseudo noise generator and how it is generating the spreading code. And now using the spreading code, the narrow banded encoded signal being generated by the channel encoder will be spread over a wide band. Okay, and now that wideband signal will be traveling through a communication channel. Obviously, as it is used for the wireless communication, some unguided wireless media will be there, and through that wireless unguided media, it will be reaching the receiver. By the receiver antenna could be capturing the signal. So once it is reached the receiver, using the same pseudo noise generator that is being used at the center side, we will generate the spreading code, and using the spreading code, the information will be demodulated back to the encoded form. Now using the channel decoder, it will be decoded to the original form, and it will be delivered to the receiver machine. So this is the idea. Now the same pseudo noise generator is to be used at center and the receiver side. Actually for the pseudo noise generator to generate the spreading code, what is needed is a particular algorithm that will generate the spreading code, and also we are using something called a seed value, some initial starting point like that. So once we get the seed value for the random number generator, with respect to the seed value, by running the algorithm, it is actually generating the spreading code, and the same algorithm and the seed value is needed at the receiver side to generate the same spreading code. So that is the idea. So actually this will be communicated in advance so that the receiver will correctly demodulate the signal, and similarly the encoding, the opposite thing will be happening at the receiver side to generate the original data. So this is the idea. So normally when it comes to communication, means this encoder alone will be there, this part, the spreading block will be absent, but when you are applying the spreading block additionally, now it is more suitable for the wireless communication. So just an explanation to the figure. The figure highlights the key characteristics of any spread spectrum system. So input is fed into a channel encoder that produces an analog signal with a relatively narrow band around some central frequency. That narrowband signal is will be given to the spread spectrum block, that modulator, that will generate the wideband equivalent of it. So the channel encoder will be just encoding the input data that is either in the analog or in the digital form to an analog signal only. So any of the technique can be used, that we already seen. And once we get the analog signal that is of relatively narrow banded around some central frequency, that will be spreaded further using the spreading code. So this signal is further modulated using a sequence of digits known as a spreading code or the spreading sequence. So typically, but not always, the spreading code is generated by a pseudo noise or pseudo random number generator. So that is the normal practice, but you can use some other method also for generating the spreading code. Okay, and we will see how this pseudo random number is generating that spreading code. So that is the normal practice. So the effect of this modulation is to increase significantly the bandwidth of the signal to be transmitted. Why you are going to increase the signal, bandwidth? that we will see. If we are doing like that, we are getting some kind of resistance from the interception and other kind of attacks. And also it can be used for the multiplexing purpose even. So altogether it is achieved by significantly increasing the bandwidth with the help of this spreading code. So on the receiving end, the same digit sequence spreading code is used to demodulate the spread spectrum signal back. Now finally the signal is fed into the channel decoder to recover the original data. So what are all the benefits? As I already told you, the signal gains immunity from various kinds of noise and multipath distortion. In beginning it was mainly used for the military application, where it is used for its immunity to jamming kind of attack. So later we started using it for the wireless communication also. It can also be used for hiding and encrypting signals. So that you will be thinking how this encryption is possible. We will see after explaining that frequency and direct sequence spread spectrum concept. This you will get an idea about it. So it can be used to achieve that confidentiality of the information. It will be hidden from the attackers. So even though attackers try to leak your information, it is not possible for them to do it longer. So only a recipient who knows a spreading code can recover the encoded information. But the spreading code is something generated by the pseudo random number generator, and the algorithm and the seed used for the random number generator will be known to the sender and the receiver. As long as that secrecy is maintained with respect to the algorithm and seed of the pseudo random number between the sender and the receiver, there is no problem at all. Even though some man in the middle attack, whatever it is, that is not feasible here. So several users can independently use the same higher bandwidth with very little interference even using this. So many users are trying to access the same bandwidth, maybe higher bandwidth, means we are trying to achieve multiplexing. So you can use this technique also for multiplexing without much with a very little interference. So this property is used in cellular telephony applications with a technique known as code division multiplexing. So we already seen this frequency division multiplexing and direct time division multiplexing. So similar to that, another technique used is code division multiplexing. I think we already I given this topic as an assignment when we discussed that multiplexing concept that time. But anyway, we will be covering this again here. And how it is working. Now I don't know whether you already linked this concept with spread spectrum concept or not. If not, we can see how it can be linked with this spread spectrum concept. So otherwise code division multiple access. So when you by using code division multiplexing, when you try to access a medium, and that is known as code division multiple access. Multiple users are trying to access the common shared medium, and how it is done. Okay. So that is the three main benefits of the spread spectrum model. Now let me give you a brief idea about the pseudo random number generator. Pseudo random numbers. So pseudo random numbers are generated by an algorithm by using some initial starting value. We call it as the initial seed value. So this the algorithm is normally deterministic in nature, and therefore produces a sequence of numbers that are not statistically random. So actually what is our requirement? We need some random numbers. Okay, so we want that randomness. Means if somebody is getting his randomness, in the sense I'm giving you some 5 numbers. If you are able to predict the 6th number, means there is no randomness at all, right? But if you are not able to predict, even though I am giving some 1000 numbers with you, this is the first number, this is the second number, etc., and this is the 1000th number. If somebody is able to identify some kind of pattern between these 1000 numbers, and he is able to predict the 1001th number, means there is no randomness actually. So random number generator means such a prediction is not possible. So that is our ultimate idea. But this is actually deterministic in nature, means by using an algorithm only you are generating with a initial seed value. So though if somebody is knowing the algorithm and initial seed value, he can guess what is next. Okay. So as it is, even though we will try to achieve this randomness to maximum, but still it is not random. That is the idea, because some seed value, with respect to that seed value, by doing some kind of calculation, we will be generating the next number, and with respect to that using and what kind of technique you used to generate the subsequent values, you should ensure that maximum randomness is provided, but 100% it is not random. So that is why this sentence, the algorithm is supposed to be non-deterministic, but it is actually deterministic in nature. That means with that initial seed value and the way in and some knowledge about the way in which the algorithm is working, someone can predict it. But most of the cases, this initial seed value and the algorithm procedure will be hidden from others, right? Only the sender and receiver will be knowing. As long as such a confidentiality is maintained, this is working fine. Or for a third party who is observing the communication will not feel that there is no randomness. He will feel these numbers are just generated randomly and there is no relation. I can't predict the next one. So how much it is being achieved, that means the type of pseudo random number generator which you are using is something which is more reliable. Okay. So statistically it is not random, but we are trying to achieve randomness. So however, if the algorithm is good, the resulting sequence will pass many reasonable tests of randomness. So randomness you can check also by using different technique. The particular sequence of numbers being generated by an algorithm is when you are passing through different randomness checking algorithm. If it is passing all these algorithm means this algorithms will be trying to explore all possible ways to see whether there is any relation. Is it possible to predict the next number? If it is not possible for the algorithm means, okay, randomness is there. The particular one is passing that exam, like that randomness testing. Okay. And that depends on the type of algorithm you are using and also the seed value. So such numbers are often referred to as pseudo random numbers. So random numbers, you can't call it as random because statistically it is not random. So we can call them as pseudo random numbers. In the sense it is somewhat random, okay, but it is not 100% random. To some extent we are trying to achieve. Or you can say that with a probability, normally we relate this concept with probability also. Probability is a value between 0 and 1. So with a probability say 0.9, it is providing randomness. Or 90% of the cases we can see that randomness, or 99 point something. But still 100% randomness is not possible. So that is that is why we call them as pseudo random numbers. So the important point is that unless you know the algorithm and the initial seed value, it is impractical for you to predict the sequence. So that what makes it work, right? That is how we are achieving that confidentiality, everything. So hence only a receiver that shares this information with a transmitter will be able to decode the signal successfully without any confusion. On the way, if someone else is trying to decode the information, he will not be able to do because he don't know the algorithm and the seed. So that about the concept of pseudo random number. Using that you will generate the spread code, spreading code. With that we will spread the information. So that is the idea. Okay, so hope you got an overview about the spreading concept, and more detail and your doubts, everything. I hope it will be cleared when we see the technique in detail. So in subsequent part, we will see the working of the technique. We start with the frequency hopping spread spectrum concept, then we move on to the direct sequence spread spectrum concept. Okay, thank you.